The stars above the Halion system shone cold and distant, but nothing felt colder than the silence that filled the observation deck of the Valon flagship. Commander Rock watched the human report flicker across the screen. The message was simple, but the meaning was terrifying. Humans, mere rumors in the galaxy until now, were not only real, but they were predators. Not hunters, not raiders. Predators. At least, that's what the intercepted reports from Earth hinted. Rock had spent decades in the Galactic Council, monitoring species across hundreds of systems. He had learned about the humans from old intelligence whispers, a species small, fragile, yet inexplicably dangerous. He had dismissed it once as exaggeration. But now, staring at the visuals of Earth's latest satellite images, he realized the mistake had been monumental. The humans were not weak. They were lethal. Their technology, at first glance, seemed archaic compared to the Council fleets. Their ships were smaller, their defenses primitive, yet every report showed a devastating ability to adapt and destroy. Entire fleets had vanished during skirmishes on the fringes of human space. Planets that had dared resist were now just coordinates in a vast, silent database. And the humans had done this without announcing themselves. They struck like shadows, precise and merciless. On the bridge, murmurs ran through the Valon officers. None dared speak too loudly. Fear had a way of silencing reason. Lieutenant Kira, a young officer with sharp instincts, leaned closer to Rock. "Commander, are they really?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Rock said, voice heavy with disbelief. "They are predators, Kira. And if the reports are accurate, America is not just surviving, they are leading the hunt." The mention of America caused a ripple of confusion. The Valons remembered humans as scattered, divided, primitive. Yet somehow, this one nation had become the apex force of the human species. Reports showed a centralized command, efficient logistics, and a tactical genius that no alien species could match. Entire planetary alliances had crumbled under the sudden appearance of human fleets, and yet there had been no official warning. The galaxy had underestimated them. And now, it was too late. The observation screen flickered again. A live feed showed a human ship approaching a derelict space station near the edge of the Halion system. It was massive, but not in the way Valon technology was massive. It was sleek, black, angular, almost alive. As it moved closer, the station's defense drones activated, firing automatically. Yet the human ship did not dodge. It absorbed the energy beams, twisting and retaliating with precision laser strikes that melted the drones within seconds. Rock felt a cold shiver run down his spine. "They don't even care about shields," he murmured. "They fight differently. Smarter. Faster. Deadlier." The bridge erupted in controlled chaos. Officers scrambled to analyze the data, but no analysis could predict the human behavior. It was not just brute force. It was instinct, strategy, and what could only be described as calculated ruthlessness. Kira glanced at the map projections. "Commander, the humans are heading straight for the central cluster. The Council fleet will be wiped out before anyone can respond." "Yes," Rock said. His hand trembled slightly on the console. "They are predators. And we are their prey if we do not act carefully." A sudden alert flashed. The human ship had deployed small drones, hundreds of them, around the station. But the drones did not attack randomly. They dissected the station's defenses, disabling critical systems with surgical precision. Within minutes, the station was silent, lifeless, and completely under human control. Not a single human casualty reported. Not a single failure. The Valon officers could hardly comprehend what they were witnessing. Rock knew they had underestimated the humans for centuries. Every simulation, every wargame, every intelligence report had failed to predict this. The humans were unlike anything the galaxy had ever faced. And now, America, once just a planet among billions, had become the apex predator species. Outside the observation deck, stars stretched endlessly. Rock's mind raced. How could a single species, seemingly primitive, become so dominant so quickly? And more importantly, what was their next move? He turned to Kira, eyes hard. We need to prepare the fleet. Not just for defense. We need a plan to survive. Because if we fail, humanity will hunt us all, one system at a time. Kira swallowed hard. And if we can't? Rock's voice dropped. Then we vanish. Just like those fleets on the outer rims. Humanity doesn't negotiate. Humanity doesn't fear. Humanity hunts. As the Valon officers worked frantically, the human ship continued its silent advance through the Halion system. No words were broadcast, no threats made. The humans had not yet spoken, but their actions screamed one message. They were the hunters, and the galaxy had just become their hunting ground. For the first time in decades, Rock felt true fear. Not the fear of defeat, not the fear of loss, but the primal fear of being hunted. And as the observation deck lights dimmed with the incoming jump of more human ships, the reality became clear. The galaxy would never be the same. The humans had arrived. And the predators were in control. The galaxy had never seen humans like this. The Valon Council fleet scrambled to intercept reports of American ships moving faster than any known technology allowed. Commander Rock stared at the map again, watching blips of human vessels appearing almost simultaneously across multiple systems. Each blip represented death for anyone foolish enough to resist. Kira pointed at one cluster. Commander, they've jumped past 5 fleets in hours. How is this possible? They are everywhere, but nowhere at the same time. Rock clenched his fists. They fight smart, Kira. Not like us. They do not rely on numbers or brute force, they rely on precision and instinct. And they are not afraid. Across the galaxy, in the heart of human space, Admiral Hawk watched the same displays from a massive war room. His team coordinated dozens of ships silently. There was no shouting, no panic. Every move was calculated. Every strike pre-planned. And yet, Hawk knew that flexibility was their true strength. Humans adapted faster than anyone else, changing tactics mid-battle, turning disadvantages into traps. Back on the Valon flagship, panic was beginning to spread. Messages from outer rim colonies were arriving, but most were incomplete, fragmented, or just empty transmissions. Entire worlds had gone silent. No defenses left. Not a single fleet survived. The humans didn't just destroy, they erased. Lieutenant Kira turned to Rock, her voice trembling. Commander, they are coming for the core systems next. If we do not act now, Earth will. Humanity will. Rock cut her off sharply. They are not here to negotiate, Kira. They are here to dominate. And they are not weaklings. They are predators at the top of the chain. Our fleets are scattered. Our defenses are slow. And they are faster, smarter, better. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Human ships had appeared in orbit around the Valon homeworld's outer colonies. Sensors showed dozens of small strike teams launching toward critical installations. The fleet tried to respond, but human ships slipped past every blockade. Not one human vessel had been destroyed. Not one human soldier had been caught. Commander Rock's face turned pale. It's not just the ships, it's the humans themselves. Their tactics, their instincts, it's like they are hunting, not fighting. A sudden transmission appeared on the main screen, but it was not in any known language. The symbols flashed briefly, then disappeared. Kira frowned. Commander, it's almost like they are communicating faster than we can decode. Yes, Rock said quietly. And it doesn't matter. We don't need to understand them. We just need to survive their next move. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, humans prepared silently. America's fleet had no grand speeches, no ceremonies. Each captain, each pilot, each soldier understood the mission perfectly. The humans were about to strike the systems that had underestimated them for centuries. It was a hunt. And in a hunt, hesitation was death. In the Valon fleet, fear had turned into chaos. Orders were repeated, Fleets redirected, but nothing seemed to work. The humans anticipated every move. Their attacks were surgical, destroying communication hubs, disabling power systems, neutralizing defensive satellites. Within hours, dozens of colonies were in ruins, and not a single human casualty was reported. Kira's hands shook as she studied the data. Commander, this is impossible. How can a species, a single planet, be this strong? Rock's jaw tightened. It's not impossible, Kira. It's evolution. They have learned to survive, to fight, to dominate. And now, America leads them. They are the apex predators of the galaxy. Outside the flagship, stars streaked past as human ships moved silently, like hunters in the dark. No one knew when or where they would strike next. The Valon officers could only watch as entire fleets vanished from the galactic map. Each disappearance brought dread, but also a horrifying realization: resistance was almost meaningless. Back on the bridge, an emergency council meeting was convened. Rock addressed his officers, voice steady but tense. We have underestimated humanity. We believed they were small, insignificant. We were wrong. We have two options: surrender or survive. Surrender will not stop them. Survive will require every ounce of strategy, every hidden weapon, and maybe luck. A young officer spoke up nervously. Commander, is it even possible? Can we survive them? Rock's eyes hardened. Survive? Maybe. But we must remember one thing: humans are unpredictable. And their unpredictability is what makes them unstoppable. We cannot fight them the way we fight others. We must think like prey, anticipate like hunters, and pray that we are clever enough to escape their grasp. Kira looked out at the approaching fleet, her heart pounding. They are coming closer, Commander. The outer systems are gone. They will reach us soon. Yes, Rock whispered, almost to himself. And when they arrive, we will know why the galaxy fears humans. Not for their strength, not for their technology, but for their instincts. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity does not negotiate. Humanity hunts. And once the hunt begins, nothing will survive. Outside the viewport, the first human attack drones emerged from the shadows. They moved silently, deadly, efficient. The Valon flagship shook as the initial strike hit. Alarms blared, lights flickered. The humans had arrived in force, and the galaxy's apex predator had claimed its first real target. In that moment, every officer aboard the Valon flagship realized the truth: the galaxy would never forget Earth. The humans were not just survivors, they were hunters. And America had become their spear, their mind, their unstoppable force. As the battle began, Commander Rock gripped the railing, staring at the approaching fleet. He knew one thing with certainty: the humans had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. And this was only the beginning. The Valon fleet was reeling. Their weapons fired in frantic bursts, but the humans moved with terrifying precision. Commander Rock had never seen a fleet adapt so quickly, so intelligently. Every maneuver he ordered was already anticipated, or countered, before his ships could even execute it. Lieutenant Kira gripped the console, her eyes wide. Commander, they're reading us. Every move we make, they're one step ahead. Yes, Rock replied, his voice tense. This isn't luck. It's instinct. Every human ship seems to think like a predator, predicting our reactions, setting traps we can't even see yet. Outside the flagship's viewport, human vessels glided through space like shadows. They were sleek, black, almost alive in appearance, each one moving independently but with coordinated purpose. The Valon fleet tried to target them, but human ships split and merged, striking weak points in the fleet's formation. Explosions rippled through the space around them, and yet the humans suffered no casualties. Rock could feel the tension in the room. Officers whispered, trying to analyze the human tactics, but no simulation, no strategy manual, no experience could prepare them for this. The humans weren't just fighting, they were hunting. A sudden alert caught Rock's attention. A small human strike team had slipped past the main defenses and entered the fleet supply line. Weapon systems were disabled, fuel lines sabotaged, and communication arrays destroyed. It was not random, it was calculated. The humans were crippling the fleet before the real attack even began. Lieutenant Kira's face paled. "Commander, if they continue like this, we won't even have a chance to retreat. Our fleet will be scattered in hours." Rock nodded grimly. "We have underestimated them for too long. They are not just a planet. They are a force. And America is leading them. Every ship, every soldier, every strategy is coordinated perfectly. This is what apex predators look like." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Admiral Hawk observed the Valon fleets on multiple screens. His team coordinated silently, issuing commands without hesitation. They didn't speak much, they didn't need to. Each human officer, each pilot, each soldier understood instinctively what to do. In one swift move, the human ships created a blockade around the Valon fleet, cutting off escape routes and reinforcements. Rock tried to break through, but the humans anticipated his moves. Every attempt to flee only led the humans into more vulnerable positions in the fleet, where they could be eliminated efficiently. Kira whispered, "Commander, they're learning from every move we make. Every mistake, every hesitation, they adapt immediately." Rock's eyes narrowed. "That's how predators hunt, Kira. They don't just attack, they analyze, they adapt, they exploit weaknesses. And the humans, they are perfect hunters." As the battle intensified, the Valon flagship sensors detected something unusual. Human ships were deploying small drones, dozens of them, toward critical systems on the flagship. The drones moved with surgical precision, disabling key machinery and cutting off power lines. Within minutes, critical systems were offline, and chaos erupted on the bridge. Rock banged his fist on the console. "Divert all remaining power to shields. Stop them before they cripple us completely." But the humans didn't attack recklessly. They observed, waited, and struck only when the perfect opportunity appeared. The Valon fleet's strongest weapons were neutralized one by one, each failure feeding into the humans' growing advantage. Kira's voice trembled as she pointed at the display. "Commander, they're converging on the fleet's command center. If they take it, we lose everything." Rock swallowed hard. He knew she was right. The humans didn't need to destroy every ship, they only needed to control the right points. And they were already doing it. Suddenly, the flagship shook violently. Explosions rippled across the decks. Officers scrambled, trying to regain control. Communication with outer units was gone. Entire sections of the fleet had disappeared from sensors. And yet, the humans remained unscathed. Rock felt a cold fear settle over him. "This is no ordinary battle," he said quietly. "We are being hunted. Every move we make, every decision, is being used against us. And we don't even know the full extent of their power yet." Outside, the human ships continued to glide silently, their black hulls reflecting starlight like predators stalking prey in the darkness. Not a single human casualty, not a single failure. Every attack was precise, every maneuver flawless. Kira looked at Rock, eyes wide with fear and awe. "Commander, how can a species like this exist? How can one planet create hunters this powerful?" Rock shook his head slowly. "We underestimated evolution, Kira. We underestimated survival instincts honed over centuries. The humans are not just fighters, they are apex predators. And America has become the spear that leads them." As the flagship shook again under another wave of attacks, Rock knew one thing with certainty. Survival would require every ounce of cunning, every hidden tactic, and maybe even luck. Because against humans, the galaxy had never faced an enemy like this. And the hunt had only just begun. The Valon flagship shuddered under another wave of human attacks. Commander Rock gripped the railing as alarms blared around him. Every sensor lit up with red warnings. Systems were failing one by one, and the humans moved like shadows, exploiting each weakness instantly. Lieutenant Kira tried to keep track of the incoming ships. "Commander, they're not just attacking, they're mapping us. Every pattern, every response. They know our fleet better than we do." Rock's jaw tightened. "Yes. That's why we are losing. We've never faced a species that fights smarter than us. Stronger ships, bigger weapons. It doesn't matter. Humans are the hunters. And we are the prey." In orbit above a strategic moon, humans prepared their next move. America's fleet was quiet, but deadly. Advanced cloaking systems allowed ships to disappear from sensors. Specialized drones repaired damage instantly and could disable enemy weapons with minimal exposure. Humans didn't rush, they observed, calculated, and struck with deadly precision. Back on the flagship, panic began to spread. Officers shouted over the comms, trying to coordinate scattered fleets. Attempts to regroup failed. Human ships anticipated every maneuver, splitting the fleet into isolated pockets and striking each one with surgical precision. Kira's voice was tight with fear. "Commander, if we lose the command center, the fleet will collapse completely. They're converging faster than we can respond." Rock studied the incoming ships. "We have to fight differently. We cannot meet them head-on. Humans do not respond to brute force. We must use strategy, deception, maybe even trick them." Rock ordered all remaining ships to retreat into asteroid fields near the moon. The plan was risky, the humans could easily follow, but the tight terrain might limit their advanced weapons. The Valon fleet moved cautiously, hiding among the massive rocks and debris. Outside, human ships approached silently. They moved as a single, coordinated unit, scanning for weaknesses. Sensors showed the Valon fleet hiding, but humans adapted instantly. They deployed small drones, mapping every asteroid and hiding spot, then struck at the most exposed points first. Rock's eyes narrowed. "They're not falling for traps. Every move we make, they counter immediately." The flagship shook as a human drone struck the hull. Sparks flew, systems failed. Kira shouted over the alarms. "Commander! Shields down on the port side. Hull breach imminent." Rock barked orders, but the humans seemed one step ahead. Their attacks were precise, targeting only what mattered most. The Valon fleet's largest weapons were neutralized, engines disabled, and communications cut off. Panic surged across the flagship. In the middle of the chaos, Rock realized something terrifying. Humans were not just attacking, they were predicting. Every pattern, every reaction, every instinct of the Valons was already analyzed and exploited. The humans fought like living algorithms, learning and adapting instantly. Kira swallowed hard. "Commander, they're unstoppable." Rock shook his head. "No. Humans are unpredictable. That's the only way we can survive. If we force them to act without pattern, maybe we can create an opening." Rock ordered the fleet to split into smaller groups, scattering across the asteroid field. It was risky, isolated ships were vulnerable, but the humans had never faced a split that required rapid adaptation across multiple fronts simultaneously. The humans responded almost immediately. Cloaked ships moved between asteroids, strike teams disabled individual vessels, yet some Valon ships managed to escape detection temporarily. Explosions lit up the darkness as desperate battles erupted in small pockets. Kira's eyes widened as she realized the humans were not just hunters, they were teachers. "Commander, every time we think we escape, they adapt. They're learning from us, faster than we can." Rock nodded grimly. "Yes, that is the danger. Humans do not just fight, they evolve. Every failure of theirs makes the next strike deadlier. And America is leading them, coordinating everything with deadly efficiency." Suddenly, a massive human ship appeared from the shadows. It was unlike anything the Valons had seen. Sleek, black, almost alive. It deployed a wave of energy pulses, disabling multiple Valon vessels instantly. The fleet's morale plummeted. Rock felt the weight of the moment. "We cannot win by strength alone. Every move must be perfect. Every decision counts. If we fail, humanity will continue its hunt. And the galaxy will remember this day forever. Outside, human ships glided silently, like predators circling a wounded herd. Valon ships fought desperately, but each attack seemed to strengthen the humans' understanding. Every strike, every defensive move, every reaction was noted, analyzed, and exploited. Kira looked at the main screen, her hands trembling. "Commander, what do we do now? We can't outrun them. We can't outgun them. We can barely survive." Rock's eyes were cold, determined. "We survive by thinking like prey. We survive by staying unpredictable. Humans hunt by instinct, by precision, by adaptation. If we can deny them one piece of information, just one, we might have a chance. And if we survive this, we learn. We adapt. We fight smarter." The flagship shook violently as another human strike pierced the outer hull. Alarms screamed. Systems failed. The human hunt was relentless. And yet, in the chaos, Rock and his officers realized one truth: humans were not just warriors, they were predators unlike any the galaxy had ever faced. The asteroid field erupted with battle. Explosions lit the darkness, smoke and debris floated silently, and the humans moved as shadows, efficient, deadly, unstoppable. The Valens fought with all they had, but the hunt had only begun. And in the heart of the chaos, Rock knew the most terrifying truth: the humans were not just winning, they were teaching the galaxy a lesson it could never forget. The galaxy was quiet now, but it was the calm before a storm. Commander Rock stared at the holographic map of the Halyon sector. The destruction humans had caused was already catastrophic, but the worst was yet to come. Every system they had passed through was either under human control or completely annihilated. And America's fleet, sleek, black, unstoppable, was moving toward the heart of the Council territories. Lieutenant Kira's voice broke the silence. "Commander, the humans are deploying something new. Sensors show massive energy signatures approaching the outer colonies." Rock frowned. "Energy signatures? What are they planning?" Minutes later, the answer became terrifyingly clear. Human ships fired energy beams unlike anything the Valens had ever encountered. The beams didn't just explode, they tore through fleets, planetary defenses, and even asteroid shields. Entire installations were vaporized in seconds. Colonies that had survived centuries of war were reduced to silent, glowing ruins. Rock felt his chest tighten. They don't just destroy, they erase. There's no negotiation, no mercy, no warning. This is what apex predators do. The Valon flagship shook violently. Alarms screamed as multiple systems failed. Kira shouted over the chaos. "Commander! Outer shields down. Hull integrity failing. We can't survive another hit like this." Rock gritted his teeth. "We must move. All ships, follow the escape plan. Split into groups, use every asteroid, every debris field, every hidden path. Survive, and we live to fight another day." Outside, human ships glided like shadows across the stars. They didn't rush. They didn't panic. Every movement was calculated. Every attack was precise. Even their drones adapted instantly, repairing minor damage and exploiting weaknesses in real time. Rock watched in disbelief as a massive human ship deployed a series of microdrones toward a Valon colony. The drones didn't just attack randomly, they targeted energy plants, weapons depots, and communication arrays with surgical precision. Within minutes, the colony was silent. Not a single human casualty, and total devastation for the Valens. Kira's voice trembled. "Commander, they are unstoppable. We can't outrun them. We can't outgun them. Every plan fails before it starts." Rock nodded grimly. "They are predators, Kira. They hunt not with brute force, but with instinct, precision, and intelligence. Every species we've faced before, they would have failed. But humans, they adapt. They learn. And America is leading them perfectly." Meanwhile, in human command, Admiral Hawk reviewed data from multiple battlefields simultaneously. He didn't shout, didn't panic, didn't celebrate. Every move was premeditated. Every strike accounted for. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the galaxy a lesson. Rock knew that survival would require more than tactics. It would require unpredictability, ingenuity, and courage. He ordered the remaining Valon ships to deploy stealth technology, hoping to disappear into uncharted sectors. Some vessels vanished, temporarily eluding human sensors. But Hawk anticipated this. Cloaked ships were detected, tracked, and systematically neutralized. Kira looked at the display, despair in her eyes. "Commander, how can a species do this? How can one planet create hunters that make us feel like children in a war?" Rock's expression hardened. "It's evolution, Kira. Survival instincts honed over centuries, combined with intelligence and innovation. Humans are apex predators. They don't just fight, they dominate. And America leads them." A sudden alert lit up the bridge. Human ships had deployed a new weapon, a massive energy pulse that swept through space, disabling multiple Valon vessels simultaneously. It wasn't a typical weapon. It wasn't even conventional. It was like the humans had learned to manipulate the very energy of space, bending it to their will. Rock felt a chill. This is beyond anything we've ever seen. They are not just stronger. They are superior in every way. Kira's hands shook as she typed frantic commands. "Commander, if they reach the central systems, the entire council will fall. Humanity will control the galaxy in months." "Yes," Rock admitted quietly. "And if we survive, we may only delay the inevitable. The humans don't negotiate. They don't fear. They hunt. And once the hunt begins, nothing survives in their path." Outside, the human fleet glided silently through the stars, sleek, black, unstoppable. Their drones moved like shadows, eliminating obstacles, mapping weaknesses, and striking without hesitation. Every human ship acted as if it were one mind, one body, one unstoppable force. The Valon officers realized a terrifying truth. This was not just a war. It was a revelation. Humans had arrived, not to negotiate, not to coexist, but to dominate. And the galaxy had never seen a predator like this before. Rock clenched his fists. "We survive by learning. We survive by adapting. But humanity, they will teach the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. And if we are lucky, we may live to tell the story." Kira swallowed hard. "Commander, how can we fight something like this?" Rock's eyes were cold, determined. "We don't fight like they fight. We survive. We outthink. And if we are clever, we might last long enough to learn their weaknesses. Because humans are not just soldiers. They are predators. And America is the spear that leads them." The flagship shook again as another wave of attacks struck. Alarms blared. Lights flickered. But Rock and his officers knew one thing with certainty. The humans had changed the galaxy forever. They were unstoppable, unpredictable, and deadly. And the hunt had only just begun. The Valon fleet was battered, scattered, and desperate. Commander Rock stared at the holographic display, watching human ships glide silently through the debris of destroyed colonies and fleets. Every attempt at retaliation had failed. Every defensive maneuver had been anticipated. And yet, he refused to give up. Lieutenant Kira's voice trembled as she typed frantic commands. "Commander, they're splitting us further. Every group we send out is being hunted separately. It's like they want us to feel powerless before they strike." "Yes," Rock replied grimly. "Humans are predators. They break the prey down, isolate it, and strike at the weakest points first. That's why we are losing. But we survive by thinking differently, not by matching their strength." The Valon fleet attempted a coordinated attack. Multiple ships converged on a group of human vessels near a dense asteroid field. Explosions erupted as plasma beams collided. But the humans adapted instantly. Smaller strike teams darted between asteroids, sabotaging weapons and disabling engines with deadly precision. Within minutes, the Valon attack was in disarray. Kira's hands flew across the console. "Commander, they're learning from every move we make. Every mistake we commit, they use against us." Rock's expression was tense. "Yes. That's what makes them dangerous. Humans don't just fight, they observe, adapt, and strike perfectly. Every human ship is like a mind of its own, yet part of a coordinated whole. That's why we are losing. That's why we must survive first, fight later." Meanwhile, in human space, Admiral Hawk oversaw the battle with quiet precision. There was no panic, no shouting, no chaos. Every captain knew exactly what to do. Every pilot executed maneuvers instinctively. Humans didn't just fight, they dominated. Back on the Valon flagship, alarms blared again. Human strike drones had breached the outer hull. They were small, fast, and unrelenting. They targeted communications, engines, and weapon systems with surgical accuracy. Within minutes, key sections of the flagship were offline. Kira's voice shook. "Commander, shields are failing, hull breaches are spreading. We won't last another hit." Rock's eyes were hard. "Then we must use the one advantage we still have, unpredictability. Humans are predators, yes, but even predators can be surprised if we act differently. Split the fleet, scatter in multiple directions. Use the debris fields. Use the asteroid clusters. Force them to adapt to us for once." The fleet followed Rock's orders, scattering into narrow, twisting paths between massive asteroids. Human ships followed, silent and deadly. Strike drones flew ahead, mapping every movement, analyzing every potential trap. But some Valon vessels managed to temporarily disappear from sensors, taking advantage of the chaotic terrain. Kira looked at the display in disbelief. "Commander, some of our ships are escaping detection. Maybe we have a chance." Rock nodded slowly. "Yes. Survival is the first step. Humans may be hunters, but even predators can be tested. We must survive, adapt, and learn. That is our only chance." Outside, explosions lit the darkness as humans and Valons clashed among the asteroids. Plasma beams sliced through debris, tearing apart small ships. Yet the humans moved almost effortlessly, dodging and striking with deadly efficiency. Not a single human casualty was reported. Every strike was calculated, every move precise. Kira's voice was tight. "Commander, they're learning too fast. Even our trick maneuvers, they anticipate them within moments." Rock's jaw tightened. "Yes, and that is why we must survive by thinking beyond their patterns. Humans hunt by instinct, yes, but if we force them to face the unknown, we may gain a temporary advantage. Just enough to escape, regroup, and fight another day." A sudden alert lit the bridge. Human ships had deployed a massive energy pulse, targeting several Valon vessels at once. Engines failed, weapons were offline, and communications cut out. The fleet staggered under the attack. Rock's hands clenched the railing. They are not just stronger. They are smarter, faster, and unrelenting. But they are not invincible. We must survive this wave, or the galaxy is lost. Kira swallowed hard. "Commander, the outer systems are falling. They will reach the Council worlds next." "Yes," Rock said quietly. "And that is why we must endure. Humans are predators. They hunt, they dominate, they destroy. But even predators can be outwitted, if we survive long enough to learn their limits." The asteroid field erupted with battle. Sparks and debris floated silently in the void as the humans moved like shadows, efficient, precise, unstoppable. The Valon fleet fought desperately, but the humans adapted instantly. Every move, every reaction, every attack was analyzed and exploited. Rock looked at Kira, determination in his eyes. "We fight not with strength, but with survival. Every ship that escapes, every crew that survives, learns. And one day, that knowledge may save the galaxy. Outside, human ships glided silently through the darkness, unstoppable and lethal. The Valon officers realized a chilling truth: humans were not just soldiers, they were apex predators. And America led them, perfectly, efficiently, mercilessly. The hunt continued. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson humanity was teaching. The remnants of the Valon fleet limped through the outer rim, battered, broken, and desperate. Commander Rock stared at the holographic map, seeing more and more systems fall to the humans. The destruction was total. Entire colonies erased. Entire fleets vanished. And yet, the human ships moved as if unstoppable, precise, and coldly efficient. Lieutenant Kira's voice trembled. "Commander, we can't hold them. They are everywhere. America's fleet, it's like they are in 10 places at once." Rock's eyes hardened. Yes, humans are apex predators. Every ship, every soldier, every strategy, perfectly coordinated. But they are not infallible. We survive, we adapt, and we fight differently. That is our only hope. The Valons attempted one final coordinated strike, gathering their remaining ships near a massive asteroid belt. Their plan was desperate: draw the humans into a trap, use the terrain to split their forces, and hit them simultaneously from multiple angles. But the humans anticipated it. Sensors picked up cloaked ships moving in perfect synchronization, strike drones weaving between asteroids, analyzing every Valon movement. Within minutes, the trap was turned against them. Valon vessels were isolated, disabled, and destroyed with surgical precision. Kira's hands flew across the console. "Commander, they adapted to the trap. Every maneuver we planned, they countered before we even executed it." Rock gritted his teeth. "That's what predators do, Kira. They hunt, they learn, they dominate. And we underestimated them for too long." Outside the flagship, human ships glided silently, like shadows over a wounded herd. Energy beams ripped through the darkness, disintegrating Valon ships in seconds. The fleet's strongest weapons were neutralized, engines disabled, communication arrays destroyed. Within moments, the Valon flagship was surrounded, its remaining defenses crippled. Rock's mind raced. There was only one option left. We must survive. Not fight them head-on. We must escape, learn, and regroup. Humanity is unstoppable, but maybe, just maybe, we can endure. Kira swallowed hard. "Commander, can we really survive against this? They are perfect hunters." Rock looked at her, eyes steely. "Humans are predators, yes. But even predators have limits. We survive, we observe, we learn. And one day, that knowledge will be our weapon." Suddenly, the flagship shook violently. Alarms blared as human strike drones breached the hull. They moved with lethal efficiency, disabling engines and weapon systems, targeting the ship's command center. The bridge erupted in chaos. Officers scrambled, but humans struck with precision, unharmed and unrelenting. Rock barked orders. "Divert all remaining power to shields. Activate emergency protocols. Survive, whatever it takes." The humans didn't attack recklessly. They moved deliberately, like a predator stalking its prey, hitting only what mattered most. Systems failed one by one. Valon officers struggled to maintain control, but it was futile. The humans had anticipated every weakness, every hesitation, every reaction. In the midst of the chaos, Rock realized the terrifying truth: humans weren't just stronger, they were smarter, faster, and utterly unpredictable. Their instincts, combined with coordination and precision, made them unstoppable. America had become the spear, the apex force leading humanity across the stars. Kira's voice trembled. "Commander, we can't fight them. They're everywhere." Rock's jaw tightened. "Then we survive. We endure. Every ship that escapes, every crew that survives, learns. And that knowledge may one day challenge them. But today, humanity hunts, and the galaxy will remember it forever. Outside, the human fleet moved silently, a perfect blend of shadow and machine. Strike drones disabled multiple Valon ships simultaneously. Massive energy pulses ripped through space, neutralizing entire squadrons. Not a single human casualty was reported. Every movement was flawless, every attack precise. Rock clenched his fists. This is not just war, it's a lesson. Humanity does not negotiate. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity dominates. And America leads them. The flagship shook violently again as another wave of energy hit. The hull buckled, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. But in that chaos, Rock and his officers realized one truth. Humans were not just soldiers, they were apex predators. Every move they made taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Kira whispered, almost in awe, "Commander, they are perfect." Rock looked at her, cold determination in his eyes. "Yes, they are predators. And we are the witnesses. The survivors may remember. The galaxy may fear. But humanity, they are unstoppable. And America will always lead the hunt." Outside the viewport, human ships glided across the stars like shadows. The remaining Valon ships were scattered, broken, and overwhelmed. Entire colonies, fleets, and systems had fallen. Humanity had arrived. They had proven their dominance. The galaxy's apex predators had declared themselves, and the lesson was clear. No one could match them, not in strength, not in speed, not in cunning. As the flagship drifted among the wreckage, Rock whispered to himself, "The hunt has begun, and the galaxy will never be the same." The stars shone cold above, silent witnesses to humanity's rise. And somewhere, far across the galaxy, Admiral Hawk observed the battlefield with quiet precision. Not a word was spoken. Not a single human casualty occurred. The humans had arrived, and the apex force of the galaxy had claimed its place. The hunt was over for some. But for the survivors, one truth remained: humans were predators, and the galaxy would bow to their dominance, led by America, the spear of their unstoppable force. And in the darkness of space, every predator knew one thing: humanity had arrived.